If your renovation budget have ever gone over, it's not because of bad luck. It's a very simple mistake. It's a mistake that a lot of investors and contractors fall into when they're trying to estimate their renovation. Today, I'm gonna break down these mistakes and how you can avoid them. Okay, so if you're new to this channel, my name is Omar Mohammed, and I run a real estate investment company and a construction business for real estate investors. And we're trending to probably have done over 60 renovations just this year alone for other investors. I've seen budgets all over. I look at budgets daily. I've seen where we underestimate, overestimate, and how we streamline this process to give a very accurate estimate, knowing how much the project will cost us and how much it will cost the client. And I'm gonna give you all this today so you can learn from it and make sure that you are setting in the right budget before starting your renovation so there's no surprises. The number one mistake that I see a lot of investors and contractors do is, I call it the rule of assumption, which is basically looking at a house and be like, oh, this is just like that other house we did for 60,000. It's probably gonna cost us 60. Never assume going into a project. I never do that. Even though that we probably have over 100 of houses that we've done or a couple hundred, I still never do that. We go in, we follow the same process that I'm gonna share with you. Never assume, even if you did the house typically as it is, still break it down. So the rule of assumption, gone. And the second is not knowing exactly what needs done. I got so many people reach out to me saying, hey Omar, I just want to flip this property. Now, because I have experience, I could go ahead and walk this property and know exactly the area. We've done so many flips in this. Okay, we need to add a half bathroom on the first floor. Let's open the walls, create an open concept, and then send the client a budget. As a contractor or your contractor doesn't know what your budget you want to be in. So that's okay as long as these numbers work in your formula, which is, you know, how much you bought the property for, how much you're gonna spend it in. What's equal is less than what you're gonna sell it for. So you end up profiting what's between. So as far as the formula works, that's fine. If you're new, you can have an experienced contractor walk in the house that works with investor. So somebody like us who works with investor, understand investment, and walk in and be like, okay, to flip this house, they understand what kind of finishes need to go in, what kind of floor concept, how to make it attractive for home owners to buy this property, walk it and give you a scope of work. Do not just go in there and say, I do not know what I need to do with it. So second mistake will be not knowing what needs done. And how to know that is by simply knowing your exit strategy. So if you want to flip it, get a contractor. If you can't find a contractor, ask your realtor, what does that house need to look like so people will buy it? But if you're experienced, you probably know it's simple, and write your scope down. At least give them some directions. Don't leave it just open. It can be as simple as I want to flip this house, or it can be more detailed with like, hey, I want to create an open concept, add a half bathroom, rewire, replumb, change the roof, change the windows. Now, the more communication you communicate up front, the more expectation, the more you can calculate that renovation budget better and reduce the surprises. The mistake that I see happen also all the time is people get too caught up about the number. They want to buy the deal, so they will be like, okay, my budget, I have to only spend 80,000. Great. Let me just, I can get away with only doing painting, flooring, bathrooms. But then what you find out is you go sell the house, inspection comes, you have to do a lot of stuff. Now you have to open these walls that you have painted. So never get so high thinking it's 80 and lie to yourself. Say, hey, I'm gonna do it with 80. If it's cost 120, it costs 120. So the most important rule is you can maybe change the ARV. You can definitely change how you bought the property for, but you could never change the renovation budget. Stop trying to cut the renovation budget to make the deal work. This is the one number you should not try to mess with. So back to it, make sure you have a clear scope so the contractor and yourself know what exactly we're gonna do, and then break it down. So when you break down these scope, and here's a small surprise actually I'm working on, I'm gonna be launching an app that will walk you through this. You don't have to put anything but to talk to it. So it would think exactly like us. It's like me walking your property. You'll put the address, download some pictures, and your own language, say what you want, and it will break it down for you and give you prices. So be on the lookout. Make sure you subscribe if you haven't. Send me a DM, I'll put you on the list once the app is ready. It's gonna be a web app, so be on the lookout for it. So what you need to do is start it by steps. What's the first step that I gotta do to this house? I gotta clean it out and demo, write this in. Then what's the next step? Is by framing it. So start the framing. Are we changing any layout? Is there 2-bedroom that you want to make a 3-bedroom right now? That should be start happening soon, the layout and the framing. Then after that, you start electric and plumbing. Then after that, drywall, paint, flooring, and things goes in order. So make sure you follow that scope, break it down clearly, and then assign numbers. And here's the thing. When you're assigning numbers, a lot of people, everyone never usually underestimates materials, right? Because materials is material. And you could, okay, if you put like $3 square foot for LVP, you'll find $3. If you put $1.50, you probably find it. So give yourself a little bit of room in materials, but most people never underestimate materials, but they way underestimate the amount of labor. It does take a lot of labor to get a house from looking really bad to looking like that. One of the biggest things that people underestimate is drywall. To drywall all the house and to like make it look good, because you can get it cheap, there's always gonna be somebody that's gonna do it cheaper. And remember, in construction, the cheapest is not the best. I've done that mistake so many times, even as a contractor, that I might hire a sub or hire somebody because they're cheaper, but then you'll have to spend money again to fix it. So never go with the cheapest bid, get referrals, and we'll talk about contractors in another episode, but those are just few tips. Now, do not underestimate the labor. Feel free to ask questions. Hey, why is the electric cost that high? And see if the scope makes sense. Get a couple bids, get 3 bids, get 4 bids. Use the tool that I'm telling you about, and then compare everything and see that's probably your average estimate. So take your time, do not rush it. So back on labor cost, as an example, we take something simple as a demo. You're able to calculate, okay, I can get 2 dumpsters, they're $500 each, $1,000. But what will it take in the labor? If it takes you 3 days, estimate for 4, estimate for 5. Don't say, okay, the guys will rush it and do it in 2, or the contractor, or I know somebody's gonna do it cheaper. What if that's a person you knew that does it cheaper is out of business or busy? So always overestimate. And if you're able to do it less, that's great. If not, there's no surprises. As a contractor, I see so many investors that we work with that they will set their budget. Hey, Omar, I really want to get this house done at 150. And we do such a good job to keep that, because what happens, another mistake that people do is once you get into renovation, they get emotionally attached to the property. There's always can be more that you can do. So if you think you're going to spend 150, I promise you can spend 250. You got to be able to be like, okay, I'm going to put the money where it matters and I'm not spending more. It's an investment, right? If it's your own house, you can spend 300, nobody cares. But if it's an investment, you need to think like an investor. And I've done that mistake in the beginning myself, where I'll be like, well, it would be so much nicer if we opened and added more windows. Now, was it necessary? Probably not. Would it look nicer? Sure. But it doesn't mean that it's nicer and it's better to just keep doing it, unless you really are in a bad deal and you're trying to just sell it. But otherwise, stick to the scope, stick to the budget, even if it's hard, right? And budget review. Are we able to save any money? If you saved money throughout the project, you can deploy that money. I work with my investor the same way. I'll be like, listen, we want to spend 150. I'm gonna try save us like 10, 15,000 and really build that deck that we wanted in the beginning, but the budget just didn't allow. So you could work with your contractor, or, you know, work on like, okay, maybe we go with a little bit cheaper floors, a little bit cheaper tiles, and increase the budget at the end to do some landscaping or do something that's not necessary but will elevate. But most of the numbers are the same. Those are just in the finishes. You cannot really change the mechanicals number. If you need 7 windows, you need 7 windows. If you need to rough in electric, you need to rough in electric. Maybe reduce the price or play with the budget a little bit is the finishes. I wouldn't suggest going cheaper in the finishes either, because especially if it's a flip, because the finishes, you could have everything done amazingly, but the finishes look cheap, the house will feel cheap when you walk in. So also remember that setting the budget from the beginning right and sticking to it will save you thousands of dollars later. Another mistake that I see happen a lot is people using price per square feet. I promise you that doesn't work. So what does that mean is a house is 1,500 square feet, time that, this is a medium rehab, let's do times 60, that's gonna be our renovation cost. It does not work that way. We use like real systems and data from doing over 100 flips to know exactly how much cost to estimate the renovation cost. It's not just the price per square feet. I wish it's that easy, but that does not work. You need labor, you need scope, and you need pricing, line item pricing. Another thing to assume when you're going into renovation is Murphy's Law. If anything wrong will happen, it will happen. So always assume worst case scenario. Yes, be optimistic, that would be great. But as an investor and taking a risk, you cannot go in there thinking it's gonna always be rainbow and sunshine. You should do all your due diligence. Sewer line can cost thousands of dollars. Should you factor in something? Well, the contractor told me everything. Okay, what about if they rip the roof shingles off and all the OSB is bad, which is the plywood that goes under the roof shingles and they need to replace that. There's always going to be things unforeseen. Even if you got a home inspection, even if the contractor walked it, leave enough room. Do not make the budget super tight that there is no couple $100s to spend on something. Leave some room. And please do not trust anybody that just tell you what that number is. If it's not a licensed GC that have done lots of work or a trusted place that you've seen actually work, do your own research. Ask a couple contractors, licensed contractors. Do not just see like, well, on the wholesaler sheet, it said it's only gonna cost 60. Sure, get that wholesaler to fix it. Would you really wanna risk that? We never touch a job right now, even for other clients, unless we have a clear scope, clear plan, clear budgets. So again, how could you solve all that? It's very simple. Have your scope of work ready, and if you don't know how to do that, make sure you ask your realtor or your GC to break it down for you with your end goal. Like, hey, I would like to increase this place, and then you can check if that's worth it or not for a flip or a rental. I would like to move the kitchen. I would like to do this or do that. Get opinions and then work with them on it. So create a detailed scope of work. Have a budget for every single line item in that scope of work. Do not get emotional, and plan for contingencies. It's construction. There is always unknowns. So real estate doesn't get people in trouble because the math is hard. It gets people in trouble because mistakes compound, and renovation budgets is where most people lose control. So if you have learned anything from this renovation, make sure you leave me a comment below. Let me know of any mistakes you've done, or if you would like us to go through a full scope together. I would be more than happy to share this with you and teach you guys how to build it like I do. And make sure you share it with a friend. And I'll see you all on the next one.